not telling you to trust the cobra because it will strike you. What I am saying is don't be afraid of walking by the cobra. Don't be afraid. Don't have fear. Don't have fear in thinking that everything is out to get you, that all the cobras in the world are out to get you. No, some of them are just going around looking for food. You just got in the way. You see what I'm saying? Not everybody's not out to get you. You are not always the victim. If you keep playing that victim role, having that victim mentality, you're just going to continue to be the victim. But until you rise up and say, you know what, I'm moving in the direction I'm supposed to go, I'm going in the path I'm supposed to walk into, and I'm not going to live with this hurt anymore, that is when you're going to find true freedom. When you make the decision that you're going to be the leader and you're not going to allow for the hurt to continue to hurt you. And what I mean by hurting you is I mean stopping you and halting you and yielding you from the point of having those great opportunities and having those great relationships because you have that big wall built up. I hope it's...
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Cedric Hawkins, and you are listening to episode 22 of the Ced Talks podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in at this time. Today's theme for this episode is recognizing your purpose in life and discovering what is your why in your life. And before we get into all of that, I want to give a shout out to Pastor Cornelius Lindsay of the Gathering Oasis Church over in Georgia. That's the man you heard before the introduction of this podcast. I listened to a sermon on YouTube earlier in the week called Suffering in Silence, where he speaks on the external factors in our lives that leads to internal problems within ourselves. Those external factors can be anything ranging from bills, discontent with a job, discontent within a relationship, or even discontentment within yourself. And when you don't reach out to others for help, internally, inside, the issue starts to build. And Pastor Cornelius does a great job on speaking of the importance on running towards the light and running towards Christ and God to seek help. And if you don't feel comfortable seeking Christ, if you don't feel like you don't believe in him, or you don't feel like you can go to him because you can't see him and it's all confusing, seek help in your friends or your loved ones, somebody with the knowledge to help you get through your struggles. I've learned that I have to communicate my feelings and emotions in order for people to understand where I'm coming from, and only then can they offer me a solution and help me out. Vulnerability is tough and it's hard, whether you're a man or a woman, to express the hurt that you feel inside. But I promise you that opening up and talking to others will help ease that pain. Once again, that's Cornelius Lindsay's Suffering in Silence. I highly recommend you give it a listen to whenever you get the chance. No pressure, of course. And shifting over from that, my guests today are two gentlemen that I got a lot of respect for. They're young men who embody hard work and have leadership qualities that anybody can look up to and strive for. I'm pleased to announce that returning on the show today is none other than Mr. Gautam Ajay, and I'm pleased to announce Mr. Malcolm Brown as my guest today. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Good to be here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Gautam, how have you been as of late? How have you been in the month since we've last talked on the podcast?
Not too bad, man. You know, summer's just going. It's almost time for school to start again, but it is what it is, man.
Yes, sir. Malcolm, how have you been? I haven't talked to you probably in like years. I'm very curious to know how you've been as of late.
Pretty good. I've just been going through college and working this summer pretty much. Like Gautam said, I start school on the 20th, I think, and, you know, we're online, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I start back on the 31st. So, like, when COVID happened with you, Malcolm, how did that affect you a lot?
So I live in Atlanta, in Georgia, and so it's like a big city. So I came home pretty much right after spring break, and I mean, it didn't really affect me too much. Both of my parents are retired already, so, you know, I know some people had some problems with securing jobs and stuff like that. But, yeah, it wasn't too bad for me as far as going out. I didn't really go out that much anyway. But, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. So are you still living in Georgia now?
No, I'm in Maryland right now.
Got you. All right, that's good. Because I know a few people like who are still like away from Maryland and stuff like that. So are you glad to be home in a way with your family instead of being out in Georgia?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely more of a country guy than a city guy. No rent, don't have to pay for food either. Yeah, that's
Yes,
another thing.
That's cool, man. That's what's up. And, before we get into today's topic, discovering your purpose and recognizing your why, this was the theme that I always wanted me and Gautam to discuss. And when we were talking about it, he was like, "Are we going to have somebody else on the show?" And I was like, I thought about it, but I don't know who like to reach out to. And he recommended your name, Malcolm. And I remember just thinking of your name, and I was like, man, this guy would be like really perfect. But I don't have his number. I don't have his social media. And then Gotham told me, you don't even have social media. So I was like, that's even better. So right off the bat, my first question is, what's your decision to not be on social media as a young man?
I think it was probably in like ninth or 10th grade that I kind of realized that I was just on my phone like a lot, just scrolling through stories or whatever, really. And it was kind of just got to the point where it was like every 15 minutes I would look at my phone to see if something new was there, and then I was kind of like, why am I doing this? And so kind of one by one I just deleted everything. And yeah, I definitely recommend it. I know it's hard for people our age to do, but yeah, like as far as time and just how it plays a role, and like you see other people doing this and that, and for some people it can really like make you feel bad about yourself. And so yeah, I was just like, I didn't really see a point in being on there anymore, because yeah, it was kind of like I'm gonna focus on me doing my stuff, and I don't really need to see what everybody else is doing.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, Malcolm and I were actually talking about this, like a week ago. I think it's a pretty controversial topic because, I don't know, I think the worst part about it is the FOMO. I don't know. For whoever doesn't know what that means, it's fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Because you go on there and you just see like, oh, this person is abroad in Spain. Oh, this person over here just bought a house. Or some stuff like that, right? And you start to feel bad about yourself. Oh, like, why haven't I done this yet? But the thing about social media, and I know it's been discussed before, is that you see things at face value, right? You don't see what's going on behind the scenes. Everyone's honestly going through it, but nobody's going to put the bad stuff up on social media, right? You're only going to put what you want people to see. And then when we constantly check it, social media has been engineered to be something that'll give you dopamine hits, something that'll physically alter your brain to keep checking it, because they're the ones making money, right? So you keep seeing this over and over, and it can put you in a pretty bad place.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I had periods of time in my life where I kind of wanted to be off social media, but I was kind of like driven back to being back on it. And I'm not really as frequent on Twitter. I guess that's a good thing. I actually deleted that app. But after I heard that Malcolm was off it, it made me kind of realize and think about, like, I really am devoting my life to scrolling on social media. Like, when I'm at work, I'm sitting there, like, scrolling through social media, and it's like I'm not taking in, like, the moment that's in front of me right now. And so I think it's incredible, Malcolm, that you are driven enough to not do that. Gautam, have you been inspired to not do that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I look up to my boy Malcolm.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for him. But so for me, the way I take it now is I don't really use my social media to check, like, what is this person doing? What is that person doing? I don't know if you noticed, and I'm 100% sure that other people are annoyed by it, but it is what it is. I kind of use my social media just for my passion of, like, cars and stuff.
Right.
If you go on my phone, I mean, I don't have Instagram now, but if you go on and click on Instagram and you go through my whole feed, it's just straight, car this, car that, motorcycle this, motorcycle that. And I just use it to interact with people I've met from across the country about, my passion. So I think it's interesting to keep in touch with them. I don't want to give them my phone number and stuff, but, it's cool to see them post pictures and stuff. So
Yeah, and that's
I
fine.
don't mind it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I don't use it in the aspect of like, let me see what this person is up to. Nah, I just use it to explore what I like.
Right, exactly. That's what it's all about. And so, Malcolm, what are some of the things that you like to do in your downtime to kind of keep you away from getting back on social media? Like, what are some of your interests, hobbies?
So recently, probably like the past, I started this year actually in January. So I'd get up at 4 a.m. every morning, and I do like, well, I take it back, not every morning. Probably it's only the weekdays. I don't get up on the weekends that early. But I got into foreign exchange trading probably about 2 years ago. And I've been doing that for 2 years. And then I read, I meditate. What else? I go biking. I bought like a road bike since we've been home over quarantine. I go riding in the morning and then I work out. But as far as during the day, I mean, I'm pretty busy working most of the time. And then when I'm home, like not doing anything, I'll probably just hang out with somebody or watch TV. I try to just limit how much TV I watch too, on top of that. But
Yeah, that's good, man. I can totally respect that. And so, before we shift over into today's theme and topic, do you guys have any advice for anybody out there who is struggling with that FOMO, like Gautam said, with social media and trying to get off it?
Nah, all you got to do is just get off. Like, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
100%. It's going to be hard. Just delete the app. And when you get an urge, what's going to happen is you're going to look at your phone and try to click where the app used to be.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm being dead serious.
Yep.
You're going to click where the app used to be, just delete it and leave it. It gets easier after, like, the fourth day. Like, third or fourth day, then you're like, oh, it is what it is. Like, it's not there.
yeah, I mean, definitely, like I was saying, like certain friends of mine and, you know, girls or whatever, like if we're just like sitting there, it's like they're automatically on their phone looking at something, you know, like it's somebody else doing something somewhere, and it's just like, okay, you know, at a certain point you kind of step back and like, why am I looking at this? Is yeah, I mean, the fear of missing out and like fear that, you know, your life isn't as good as whoever's, and it's just like you really don't see the bad part of whatever this picture or whatever this comment is. Just like there's a lot behind the scenes that you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I know learning that topic has kind of inspired me to get off my social media myself. And so after this, I'm going to make the decision that, you know what, beyond advertising my podcast, I'm not going to get on the apps. I'm going to straight up delete it until I got to promote this again. That's my goal. That's what I want to strive for.
Yeah, it's a good idea, bro. It's a good idea.
Yep. And so, shifting over now, I want to talk about, recognizing your purpose in life or trying to find it. It's such a difficult task for us to do at this age. And I feel like for anybody at any age, whether they're young or older in retirement, it's just trying to find what makes you happy and what makes you click. And with us, we all are in college. We all have different skills and passions that we have that makes us unique and makes us happy. So, we can start with Malcolm. What kind of helped you find your purpose in a lot of ways? What helped you discover what makes you happy?
So kind of at a younger age, my dad, he kind of like directed me towards engineering. And then I kind of just liked it from there, and I got involved with different groups like National Society of Black Engineers, robotics teams, things like that. And when we went to bigger conferences and stuff like that, it was kind of eye-opening to see all the bigger companies there, and the professionals would talk to you about what they do. And I kind of just really liked the idea of being an engineer. Like, it's pretty cool to me that to be able to create and really, influence the world like directly, because engineers are behind pretty much everything, some type of engineer anyway. And yeah, that was what was kind of drove me to pursue engineering.
Even more so than like what your job career is though, like we should talk about how in our society, we live in like a capitalist place, right?
Yeah.
So here, when people talk about purpose, we're just so inclined to talk about, this is what I want to do job-wise in life. But I feel like a purpose encompasses so much more than, this is what I want to do as a job and stick here for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. Malcolm and I, we talk a lot, so we talk about what else we want to do with our lives. I feel like purpose encompasses, oh, this is like my hobby, this is my passion. It's separate from my work life, but my work life is also something I'm passionate about. What else does it separate? Like your what's it called? Your talents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it comes together when we talk about purpose. And I just hate that in our society we're so driven to talk about our work as our purpose. Nah, like that's not my purpose. I'm doing that so I can make money to do things that I like.
Yeah, it's almost like in a way it's all about like, not that the work, it shouldn't be that work should define you. Like your job shouldn't define who you are as an individual. Like your skill sets or your hobbies, that shouldn't define who you are as a person. I feel like what defines you as a person is your personality and what you do for others and how you give back. I feel like that should define who you are, if that makes sense in any way.
Yeah, of course. It's just like your morals and values.
Yeah, I mean, I think, okay, if I want to go back now,
Yeah.
to re-answer that, I mean, I don't really think, I still think that I'm pretty young as far as like that purpose is like in my life purpose. I don't think that I've truly figured that out yet completely. Yeah, I mean, definitely like one of my goals that I really want to, pursue in life is I want to be like the best father that I can be. And that would that's something as of right now that I can definitely say, but purpose in life, I think that I'm still a little young to really know what that is, just because I haven't experienced that much.
Totally.
But yeah.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I feel like the same way that you said, Malcolm, like wanting to be the best father ever. It's weird. Like I was in my car yesterday and just kind of thinking about like the future. It's weird with me. Like I'm not focused on what's going to happen next week. I mean, I am. I definitely do have those worries, but I know with me, some people think in the short term, I'm thinking of long term, like where I'm going to be at, 10 years from now, like 15 years from now. And I do have those thoughts of, wanting to be a good father, wanting to be better than my parents and my grandparents, being able to take what they taught me and being able to pass that on to my children, as well as the experience that I was able to attain and learn. So that's one thing that crossed my mind that I definitely agreed with that you said.
Yeah. On the point of like having a purpose, though, I also think like in our day and age that everyone stresses the importance of having a purpose.
Yeah.
No one steps back and takes a look at it and says like it's okay to not have a purpose right now. Especially like Malcolm was saying, we're young. We have so much time. Right now we should just be focused in like the present, right? We should be focused on getting things done day by day. It's okay to not have a purpose. You have so much more life to live. And that's another thing about social media, right? You go back onto social media and you see people doing this and that. You see their hobbies, right? I'm sure people have seen me like with cars and are like, oh, like this guy knows what he likes, them. And I'm sure people like hate to see it too, right? But I mean, it's not my purpose. I don't know what my purpose is yet. You go on social media, see all this stuff, and you get depressed because you're like, oh, this person has a purpose, but I don't. You know what I mean? But no, I don't have a purpose. Oh, this person over here doesn't have a purpose yet. They're just living life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely do agree with that because you see people doing these different things. Oh, this person just got their master's degree at the age of 24 or 25, or this person just bought this, nice car. And it's like you see all that and you think, well, I could be having that, but I don't have the skill sets that they do. And it leads to self-comparison, but it also ties into you don't know what that person deals with. You don't know what that person had to do to get that stuff, the sacrifices that they had to make, whether it was good or bad, legal or not legal, to obtain that lifestyle. So it always ties into you don't know what a person is dealing with and going through themselves. Anything can be shown on the outside, but it's what's going on inside that really matters. Like I said earlier, external problems that leads to internal problems from within. And I think social media is definitely that external problem that causes people to internally feel bad about themselves and lack confidence.
Fact, you just got to take a step back and put everything in a perspective, right? It's okay to not have a purpose. It's okay if you want to take a day and watch Netflix all day, right? That's fine. You don't have to be grinding every day. Of course, it's good. Set up a schedule, do things, like accomplish the things you want to accomplish. But if you do that every single day, you're going to get burnt out. That's why, like Malcolm was saying, he wakes up at 4 a.m. on the weekdays, but on the weekend, what does he do?
Sleep.
He takes it a bit. He takes it. Yeah, he sleeps. He takes it easy. You know, he'll take the boat out, go on the water, have some fun. Now, you can't be grinding all the time. You're gonna get burnt out. You gotta take a step back, take it easy, look at things in perspective, know what you want, and do and grind for your spot when appropriate, right?
Yep.
But take that break when you need to.
Absolutely. I was reading a book the other day, and like this quote really stuck out to me, and I'm gonna go ahead and share it, and then from there I want you guys to kind of give your opinion and take on it and see if you agree with it. And it's from this self-help book that I got, and it says, I've heard it said that in life, when one door closes, another one opens. That's not exactly what happens though. It's not nearly that sanitary or peaceful. The door slams violently just when you are about to step through. It knocks you down, leaves you bloodied and broken and shattered. Sometimes the hardest thing that you will ever do is pick up the pieces and haul yourself back up on your feet. But when you do, you realize that these other doors have been there all along. You just never saw them before. They don't just pop open, you've got to force them open through determination and hard work. Do you guys agree with that sentiment?
Yo, speaking of that quote, I actually saw something the other day that was really funny. Somebody was like, yo, I hate that statement where if one door closes, another one will open. It's so stupid. Because your house would be broken if every time you close a door, another one opens.
Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense to me. When one door closes, right, that's an opportunity that's going that something didn't work out. But for another door to open, it's not just going to magically open if you sit on your ass. You got to go there and you got to do something, give it a little nudge, something that'll open. You got to twist the knob and it'll open, right? You got to twist it. Yeah. I mean, I see both sides. In my experience, when something happens, something will just pop up, and I don't think, like, I'm not just sitting there. I am out doing something, and then I'll just happen to stumble upon another opportunity. But I don't think it's like Gautam said, you can't just be like waiting for it to come to you. But no, I definitely agree with that statement. A lot of people have the idea like, we just go through life and certain things will pop up for you. And I feel like that's what, for lack of a better term, like people that are okay with an average lifestyle, I guess, is like, our society can like coax us to, I don't know how to say this, like society will bring up the weakest link. So like, even if you're not doing anything, society will allow you to be okay. And so like, you really have to excel, you really have to like you said, be determined and go towards your goal. But it's not like just sitting around waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. It's almost like you sit, through college and you're just waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for the professor to look at you and call on you and speak with you. But that professor has like over 100 other students that they have to care about and tend to, and they have different lessons and different things that they have to teach as part of their job. And after that, they go home. And it's like beyond that, you have to put in the extra work to, get to know that professor, build that connection, network, and then from there, whatever happens just happens. And I feel like you have to grind a little bit and put into work, but like Gautam said, it's all about self-care and resting and just being able to, unwind and not throw yourself into work too much, but you also still have to grind a little bit. It all ties in together. It's like 50-50 in the way I see it, but it's all about, grinding, being able to put in your best work and just not sit and wait for opportunity to come to you.
Yeah, there's such a fine line between the amount of grind and the amount of unwinding, right? I personally, we're still young, and of course, I'm sure everyone has these problems, but I still have trouble finding where that fine line is, right? It's hard. Sometimes I'll have a day where I'll be like, oh, dang, I really didn't do much today. Even yesterday, right? I had to go to work in the AM, but I still felt like after I came home, I just took the day off, right? But at the end of the day, I felt like, I haven't done anything. But then I told myself, that's okay. You worked this week. You got things done this week. It's all right that you took a day off and you took a cruise. It's good. But I don't know. I think people also see life as such a linear progression, especially around our area. I hate to say it, but people around us have such a closed mind about things. And I don't know, they see Calvert County as like their world. It's weird, right? People trot through, they'll say, oh, okay, I'm going to go to elementary school, middle school, high school. Maybe college, maybe not. Depends on what it is. Then they come back here to get a normal job that they hate from a degree that they also hated getting. And then, now it's time for me to find a husband, time for me to find a wife. Then you have kids, and then you get old, right? This is what people want. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Some people are completely content with living that average life, right? But I think it's so much more than that. Like, life hits you like a curveball, bro. It's like you driving on 95. It's straight with a bunch of exits, right? That's what people think. But life's really more like a Calvert County back road. Twisting and turning. The one way it's going to have you going north. Next 5 minutes you're going south. But I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you. I like that analogy of the Calvert County backroads thing, but that's how life should be. There's twists and turns and a bunch of curves and all that, but it's all about how you navigate through that. Are you going to go fast and crash and burn, or are you going to, take things slow one at a time and, manage your way through those curves and till you get to that straight and narrow road, and then you take that exit and then you get onto another back road.
Hey, sometimes those back roads, man, if you're cooking at the right amount, right? Same as like if you're grinding the right amount, if you're cooking at the right amount, they can be fun. Life can be fun.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And so, with the point that you guys are at in your lives now, did you guys have to ever sacrifice anything to kind of focus on what you want with your future?
Oh, man, of course.
Yeah,
I'm going to let Malcolm talk about this. I'm going to let Malcolm talk about this one.
Yep.
I think when, like I was telling you about the foreign exchange trading, it was a pretty hard skill for me to, begin to learn. So I had to take a lot of time out to do that in college. And I think I not got lucky. I was like blessed to have a certain experience in high school, as far as like parties, and my parents didn't give me too many rules, so I had a lot of freedom in high school. And so when I got to college, it wasn't really too much of a new experience for me to be on my own. And as far as sacrifices, like for me to start learning how to trade in the foreign exchange market, I really had to like set aside 1-2 hours every day to learn that. And so with classes and stuff like that, that was kind of hard, and homework. And I needed money, so I had to get a job. And then things like that. It was pretty much during the week the same as I am now. I would not hang out with people at all, except for my roommate in my dorm. but and that was in the room. But as far as going out and things like that, I didn't do any of that for, I think, the first maybe month or two in college. I would go out, and then after that, I pretty much stayed inside unless it was the weekend, which I could go out on Friday night and Saturday night, and then Sunday I would have to go to bed, by 10 or whatever, so that I could get up early, do what I needed to do with school, do my training for the foreign exchange market, and then go to work after school, things like that. It was kind of like, I had to kind of choose, do I want the same experiences, going out and partying at bars or whatever, the same thing in high school, or am I going to, kind of stick to myself and progress in what I want to do? And, a lot of people told me, well, a lot of people would come up and tell me, like my friends, like, yo, how do you do this? Like, why are you so focused right now? We're young. And, I really want to get to where I want to get in life relatively quickly. And I know Gautam has a certain viewpoint on that. But like, yeah, I just really want to get to where I'm going so that I can then get my next goal in order,
Yep.
No, Malcolm, I love what you're doing, bro. Because we talk about this whenever I go to his house and I see him, tired as a mug sometimes. I feel bad for him. I'm like, wow, like he's on his grind. I know it's what he wants to do, but sometimes it's like, yo, like you can take it easy a little bit. It's okay, man. It's all right. But no, I'm the same way. I don't want to be like 60 years old driving I don't know, some car, right? Whenever your dream car is, I'm going to be 60 driving my dream car. I want to be 25 driving my dream car. I want to be 25 in the ocean, like on a boat. Right?
In the ocean.
In the ocean.
Yeah.
No, but y'all get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be old. I don't want to have kids when I'm doing this already. I want to do this before I can have kids. I want to establish a life and a lifestyle so that when my kids come, they can experience the same stuff, right?
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to do it sooner than later. So I agree with Malcolm completely on that point. But, sometimes you just got to, I tell him, you got to take a step back and chill for a little bit.
Totally.
On the thing of sacrifices, social media is another thing, right? You think that, I hope all these people from high school are doing okay. Like, right, you're seeing all these people, what are they doing with their daily lives? But it doesn't matter, right? In 10 years, does it matter what they were doing on a Wednesday?
Nah.
So that's another thing. Like, if you get off social media, it doesn't matter what those people are doing because they're not hitting your phone. They're not giving you a phone call. The only people that matter are the ones that will call you outside of that, right? If they're really your friend, they'll shoot you a text or they'll give you a call or they'll come to your house, right? That's one of the things. Like when I'm off social media or when Malcolm's off social media, I can count in 3 friends, 4 friends who I really talk to on a regular basis, right? And Malcolm's being one of them. And I'm happy for that because now you can solidify your real friendships, who you really like, and you can say this is my circle. These are the people that I want to be like. These are the people I want to grow with. And you can continue from there.
Totally, man. I definitely, respect that. I respect your grind, Malcolm, and how you work and how you see things, how you see the world, differently in a lot of ways. It's all about hard work, putting in the work now, so that way, and 5 years from now or in 10 years from now, you're able to see the fruit of your labor, and you can have that time then to unwind and just rest. That's even if you do that then. But I guess my point is, it's all about putting in the work now, so that way you can rest. And I think that's what it's all about. I think a lot of people our age should have that mindset of, grinding and just working towards what they want instead of just, I guess, partying and just screwing around because life just passes us by. It's passed us by since graduating 2 years ago, and it's passing us by now, even with this virus going around. So I think it's good to rest, like Gautam said, but it's also good to grind and just put in work. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep. And so, with those sacrifices that you had to make, do you feel that it has benefited you in a lot of ways in the past 2 years since you graduated?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, no, my fault. I said, like, the sacrifices that you've made, do you feel like it's benefited you a lot of ways?
Oh yeah, definitely. As far as like discipline and things like that, I think I'm out of all my friends, I think I'm probably one of the most disciplined, and I can definitely see like where that came from. That came from making certain sacrifices in school and things like that. But being disciplined kind of just gives me a certain way of looking at the things that I need to do. It's less of a task. It's more of like, I need to do this. So, forget everything else until it's done.
Nice.
And yeah, no, I really appreciate what I've become as far as discipline wise. I rarely have a moment where, I'm feeling lazy and I'm like stalling or procrastinating to go do something. Yeah, and that was definitely a big change from high school. Like senior year, I was starting to get it, but not really. I was still into like going out and hanging out all the time. But no, now I really feel that, if I see an opportunity to do something and I know that I have to sacrifice whatever it may be, I'm confident that, I'm disciplined enough to make myself do it or to make time for it each day. Yeah.
That's good. Gautam, do you feel that you have the same discipline that Malcolm has when it comes to your life?
So discipline wise, I don't know. I think it all depends on our perspective of what the discipline is. For Malcolm, like staying on that schedule and stuff like that, that's some tough stuff. And I give him a lot of credit for that. And that's why I've kept Malcolm close, because he's definitely a friend that I look up to a lot. And that's definitely somebody who can motivate me to be a better version of myself, right? I'm not going to let this man get a nice call before I do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But on that note, I think I've been disciplined in other ways other than like, a rigorous schedule and stuff like that. I personally, to become a doctor, I have to take this test called the MCAT. I have to do internships. I need to get research on my resume. I need to get shadowing, like with other doctors on my resume, the networking and stuff like that.
Right.
So I've had to find my grind, right, in getting all those kind of things done. And then on top of that, I decided I wanted to get a different perspective on like work, right? So this summer, I'm working with one of my buddies who does a lot of blue collar work, right? Dad owns a power washing company, and I go out and do that, right? It's a different experience. So I've had to find my discipline in a different aspect, but I think it's been the same way. I had to make some sacrifices too, and it is what it is, man. In the name of doing well by your 25, by all means, you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm able to kind of talk with you guys and get this kind of wisdom. I wish that I was chilling with y'all back in high school and all that, but it is what it is. I think I'm grateful that I'm able to know you guys, and especially with you and I got them, just getting to know each other just these past few months and just talking back and forth. Like, I'm grateful to be able to learn from you guys, and especially learning all about you, Malcolm. It inspires me in a lot of ways to keep doing with what I'm doing and just keep being consistent with my morals and values, and hoping that it can benefit me in the long run.
Yeah, of course. Hey, in high school though, we were definitely different people.
Yeah,
we were
absolutely.
Not the same. I think that shit started to come around in college. High school was, for me, especially, I don't know so much for Malcolm, it was kind of superficial for me. And it was just a weird time, man. High school was odd. But once you get to university, you see a different perspective. It's kind of like a fresh start. And that's when you're like, okay, this is what I got to do. So it kind of caught me at a good time. It's taken me a while to start to get things in order.
Yeah. And so, next question before we go ahead and wrap things up. With this day and age, with everybody, and just with social media being such a high presence, do you feel like more kids our age need that consistency in their life, a schedule like Malcolm does?
Yeah, I'll let Malcolm go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend it. I know that most people, if they are going to get on, a certain path and, realize their goals and stuff like that, I think most of the time that doesn't happen until, you're a little bit older.
Right.
And which is bad too, because by then, a lot of people have families and things like that, which makes it 10 times harder. Yeah, I definitely think that I would recommend it. To, whoever's listening, if you know what you want to do and you know what you need to do to get there, it's kind of like you can develop a schedule that will just work you towards that a little bit each day. I don't think with any goal really that if you were to, take 3 years of your life and work at it, not every day. Well, I'd say 5 out of the 7 days, and really just work towards your goal each day or do something towards it. I think by the end of a few years, you would kind of be there. And a lot of people kind of look at it as this huge goal, but in reality, you can break it down. Like, you can work towards it a little bit each day until you get there. It's not like this huge, massive thing that you have to conquer at one time. And yeah, no, I definitely recommend getting a schedule, finding out what you need to do to get towards your goals, and then just doing it, And I mean, I can't say from experience like it will happen because I'm still working towards my goal.
Right.
But as all successful people say, they'll tell you the same thing that I just said. Really, figure out what you want to do, make a plan, work your plan until it happens. That's kind of it.
Yep.
I completely agree with that. One thing is, whoever's listening, they're going to be intimidated by my boy Malcolm's schedule, right? Getting up at 4 a.m., doing all this. But, Malcolm didn't start at that, right? He worked his way up to it. Every day, like he said, he chipped away at it. And now he's at a point where he's got that consistency in his life where he's able to do that, right?
Yep.
So, I've tried to model after him. I try to get up at around 6:37 every day, regardless of whether I have work or not. I try to get something done each day, right? It's all right. You got to chip away at it slowly, right? Have an end goal in mind, chip away at it slowly, and just keep working to it. It is what it is. You got to get things done, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I definitely, saw. I was never a morning person before college. Even I think my freshman year, I was just always up really late doing what I had to do. So I would sleep in late and then stay up late to do what I had to do. And I kind of listened to a lot of different successful people talk, and they all have a certain schedule, and it's always in the morning. And they say, like, it's better to wake up in the morning for certain reasons, like spiritual reasons and stuff like that. But, waking up in the morning, it kind of allows me to just get everything done before anybody else is awake. And so, like, I wake up at 4, do my trading stuff for maybe an hour and a half, and then, work out, do whatever. If this is during school, do whatever homework I have to do. I read, meditate. I go on a bike ride, things like that. And then by the time it's, 8, 9 o'clock, I'm done with everything already. And so as far as like
things that would stress you out throughout the day. It's kind of like I'm calm and done with everything. And so, when I'm going through the day at school, going to my classes and stuff like that, I'm already done with all my homework. I kind of just have to go to class and take notes, and then I'm done. And then I have the rest of the afternoon. When I'm at work, I'm relaxed, or when I can just chill out. Really, there's nothing that I have to do by the end of the day. It's like I woke up, I'm done. I can really enjoy my day and be present in the moment, not thinking about, I have a million things to do when I get done with work or when I'm done with school.
Yeah, totally. It's weird how things click for us when we're in college. Like, I know with me, I was kind of I would kind of procrastinate in high school. I'm not gonna lie. I'll admit, like everything when it came to my work, I would kind of procrastinate and hold off on doing. And sure, I would do great, but it's not cool to wait till the last minute at 9 o'clock at night or at 10 to do your work. And so, like, once I started working when I was in college, it made me, wake up early, like you said, Malcolm, go to the library and try to crank out some homework assignments or work on a project or take a test early if I could, and just try to get everything done as early as I possibly could. So that way, when I go to work in the afternoon and get off in the evening time, I got that time off to myself to unwind and do, whatever I can to help me just chill out in a lot of ways. And so I guess that's my advice to people listening is just try to, get up early if you can and try and handle your business and do what you have to get done early. So that way you have that free time throughout the day to just chill.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that Malcolm hit at that I think is very important and that people should start doing is meditating.
Yes.
You need to get a yoga mat, sit down. If you have to look up like what it means to meditate, people often put too much thought into it, right? People think, like when I'm sitting there meditating, my mind is supposed to be blank. No, your mind's not supposed to be blank. You let the thoughts come in, you acknowledge them, and say, okay, it's okay. Let me return back to myself, my present self, right? Sit down, think about stuff going on in your life, right? Meditation is self-reflection. The way I think of it is in our world, going out, you see your friends all the time, you're watching a YouTube video, you're scrolling through Instagram. There's so much thought about others and other people's voices coming to you that you're not thinking to yourself enough. Meditation allows for a time where you can self-reflect and think about yourself, right? And how you feel about things. And I think it's super important. Trust. Well, after like a week of meditation, your mindset is going to start changing. And I think that's really important. But on the topic of schedules again, another thing I think about is, I think I saw this on Reddit a while ago. It just struck me as like really good, right? If your self tomorrow would look back at yourself today and say, I'm happy with what I did, then you're good, right? So in the moment, try to do something that yourself of tomorrow would think is good. Whether it be like, let me do 5 push-ups. Say on your schedule you got to do 50 push-ups, but your day was so busy that you can't do 50 push-ups. At least do 5, right? Tomorrow's going to look back and say, okay, at least I did 5 push-ups. So try to do something every day that cracks away at something that's good for tomorrow.
Yeah, totally, man. Absolutely. Shifting back to meditation, I have this app called the Calm app. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but I pay $55 like every February and they charge me for it. But it's just an incredible app. They have all of these like meditation exercises that you can do. They have sleep stories where you'll have somebody reading you to sleep, whether that's at night or when you're taking a nap. And even LeBron James, like he's on there and he gives his mindfulness. And it's literally like 7 minutes of him just talking about what helps him prep for his games. But I love the app so much because it teaches me, like Gautam said, that when you're meditating, like your mind doesn't have to be blank. It's okay for your mind to shift, left or right. All that matters is that, you're in the moment and that you're just calm. and your heart rate is elevated, it's going down, your blood pressure is just, it's great. And that's all that matters when it comes to meditating. I definitely recommend that app.
Yeah, the another good app is Headspace. It's I think it's really similar to Calm actually, and I think what I did, like I had read a book on meditation. Oh, I don't want to say I read the whole book. I read the section on calming your mind. And yeah, it's a skill. Meditation is definitely a skill. And in the mornings, I probably do it at 5:30. And I just sit there for 30 minutes to 45 minutes every day. And just how, I think about everything that I have to do during the day. And, it allows me to approach them a lot more, a lot more like relaxed because, I thought about what I need to do them, how I need to do it. And, it kind of really takes the stress out of the day. If, I have a few jobs that I have to do, and I'm thinking about them in the morning, I'm thinking about what tools do I need, everything that I need to prepare, who I need to call, things like that. And yeah, meditation, I highly recommend it. If you're a beginner, I wish I would have known about Headspace when I first started, just because there's a lot of guided meditations on there that'll focus on the pattern of your breath, what to think about, or what you should guide your mind towards anyway, if you're trying to meditate on certain things like appreciation or happiness or just being content. Yeah, definitely. I think meditation is a skill that most people don't think about, or they think it's like some, woo-hoo magic stuff.
Yeah.
But,
some hippie stuff. Some hippie stuff.
A lot of people think meditation is they think of monks and,
Indian people.
Yeah, Buddhists and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I 100% recommend meditation. It's just, I don't know. It's definitely, it just calms you down and really helps me personally. I do it and I focus on appreciating things, just where I live, the skills that I've been able to develop and my family and my friends, just different things that, have an influence on my life. And I really just try and sit there and appreciate everything around me. And yeah, I don't know. It definitely gives me a happier outlook on life, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about that self-reflection, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think in our world we take so much time to think about others and focus on others that we don't think about ourselves. And I'm not trying to be narcissistic, but you have to focus on yourself. You're the one living your life.
Yeah, not at all. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so sit down, and when was the last time you had a full-blown conversation with the little voice in your head, right? You talk so much with other people that you don't talk to yourself.
Exactly. And that's that self-love thing too. I guess that also, ties into relationships, but I think that'll be another episode for another time with just focusing on yourself and loving yourself. I just had that idea pop up in my mind. It's crazy how the world works and how we think sometimes.
Yep, I agree.
Yep. And so my final question to y'all before we go ahead and wrap this up is, if you could give advice to somebody who has hurt and they're afraid to, express it in a lot of ways, what kind of advice would you give to that person?
I'm sorry, advice on hurt? You said if somebody's hurt?
Yeah, if somebody has emotional hurt or emotional trauma, and that trauma is kind of preventing them to do their goals and the things that interest them, what would you say to somebody dealing with that?
Oh man, if it's some sort of mental illness, first go see a doctor. Don't let them put you on all those pills though. Not until you're for sure. But if it's serious, go see a doctor, right? But aside from that point, like you need to focus on yourself, right? Malcolm and I were talking about this. A lot of stuff, and this is super controversial. I hope nobody like fries me for this. I think a lot of like the depression and the kind of ill feelings that we have in today's day and age stems from our cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Absolutely.
100% stems from our cell phones.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's definitely, yeah, we were saying it's controversial just because, like we were talking about, like the fear of missing out, and you see people from your school or people from wherever, really, like they post a picture, and they're all, I don't know, they're all at some party or something like that, and for some people to look at that, it's like, oh damn, like everybody was invited but me, but and that can really, I think that could really like hurt you, the FOMO, things like that. It definitely, that's where depression, I think, like our word for depression, our meaning for depression now anyways, in our age is definitely like, it's all social, and it comes from you just watching everybody else at all times. And, for women, it's like, oh, like they see, models even. They see models on Instagram or whatever, and they're like, oh, my body doesn't look like that. Or for guys, it's,
And these
like
people
that.
don't look the same. These people don't
Yeah,
look the same in
it's like,
person.
you just edited your whole life and posted it. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't look, okay, in my experience, rarely do women look exactly like they do in these pictures that they post. It's just like, I'm not trying to, shame anybody for editing their photos. I'm not.
Yeah, it's not. It's everybody. It's everybody. I know what you're saying. It's everybody though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. I think you guys are right in the sense that social media has kind of been the downfall of the world, really. I feel like most older generation would be like, man, if you guys didn't have cell phones, you guys would know what to do with yourself. But I feel like if we went into this world without cell phones and social media, maybe we would have been just like the previous generation. We could have been just fine. We would be more social beings and interact more with people instead of just glued to our screens.
Yes, exactly. You'll be able to talk to people in person. I used to get mad when people, like, older people were like, oh, like, you're always on that phone. Like, oh, why do you need all this social media? I used to be like, bro, like, you're home. This is how criticizing you right now. Do what it is. But no, like, they're right. They have wisdom. They're right. Social media is pretty, I hate to say the word toxic. I hate that word. But it's toxic.
It's a trap, man. It's a trap. But nonetheless, man, I want to thank you guys so much for your time and being on the show. I definitely did appreciate this conversation. And, hopefully beyond the podcast, we can still, chat and meet up one day. I would definitely appreciate that.
Of course, bro. Yeah, let me know. You have our numbers.
Yep, absolutely, guys. Thank you for your time, and I will see you guys soon.
All right, bro.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, yes, sir. Yep. All right, guys, this wraps up episode 22 of the Said Talks podcast. I hope you guys stay blessed and stay healthy and stay encouraged, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you.